Hello, and welcome to the AstroEnergy Astrology Show podcast with Astrologer Shelley Overton. Hello, welcome to the AstroEnergy Astrology podcast today. It is, I have to look at my calendar because I'm not even sure what day it is. The 19th of May. My name is Shelley Overton. I'm an astrologer in Orlando, Florida. And as you can see, if you're watching the video, it's a beautiful day. I'm a little bit hot. It's a little bit humid maybe, but I'm out here with my kitty cat. You probably can't tell on the audio, but there she is in the bushes. That's one of my cats. But yeah, we're going to have a good day. We're going to be talking about Gemini, which is always exciting. Honestly, Gemini is probably one of the most exciting signs. And I'm trying to get my, I'm working on my iPad to get the chart for today. I've got alabe.com if you're wanting to join along. Of course, if this is recorded, you're probably not going to get the same chart that I have. But yeah, anyway, so we've got all sorts of technology here we're trying to get. Oh, and I'm sorry, I'm probably going to be a little bit hot through this, but it's easier outside. I don't have interruptions like I do inside. So we're going to talk about Gemini. So let's put on our handy glasses and talk about Gemini. So the title of the show is revolving around the lights. So when we talk about planets, of course, that's all the planets going around the sun, but the sun isn't a planet, it's a star. So in astrology, the sun and the moon are considered lights, which makes perfect sense because the sun does light up the sky and the moon reflects the light. So they are both in Gemini this week. And let me just double check on the date. Yeah, so Friday. Okay, sun goes into Gemini tomorrow on Wednesday. And that is at 9:49 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and 6:49 a.m. in the Pacific. So add 5 hours to Eastern for England. And Gemini is ruled by Mercury. I'll just assign those two together right now, because if you're studying astrology and you're learning about this, understanding that astrology is a connection between planets and parts of the sky. So Gemini is the segment of sky that is assigned to Mercury as a ruler, and it is the energy of communications and thought. It is the third house of the zodiacs, the third in the chart, the third segment. So using my beautiful chart here, so it's the third segment right down here. And so the first is Aries, the second is Taurus, and the third is Gemini. First is the self, being born, initiating energy. Aries, very strong. We'll talk about that in a little bit because we're going to talk a little about Mars and Aries today. And then the second is Taurus, and Venus is in Gemini right now. So we'll talk about her too. She rules the second house of money and love and being a couple. And then the third house is Gemini. And Gemini is elementary education. And if you think about 1, 2, 3, and all the way through the chart, you get the process of a human life. You're born in Aries, you come into this world, and then whatever is on the horizon at the moment of birth is your rising sign. So that creates the first house. The second house is when you start to acknowledge the body and your value in the material world. The third house is when we start to recognize as a child that we have thoughts. And by the time we hit 3, our thoughts are then our own. We start to go, wow, you know, I have an opinion, I can say no. And so we have this energy coming in of thought and intellect, communication. We learn our words, we grow our vocabulary, we're cognizant. So the third house relates to that. It relates to cognizance, it relates to communication, it relates to elementary education in children. So as we see planets go through the Gemini sector of the sky, that area is triggered and highlighted. So whatever the planet or light is in that area of the sky, that energy is infused with the Gemini energy, and Gemini is infused with the energy of the planet or light. So this week is particularly uh, pointed with Gemini because we have the sun, which is our ego, our self, our identity, coming in and saying, hey, I'm here. And I'm going to just move this a little bit on this. I've got everything on a box just to raise it up so I'm not looking down on you. And this is fairy hair, by the way. If you're looking at that glitter in my hair, it's a little bit of fairy hair. I think I've got some in the back, still looking forward to getting some more. But anyway, yeah, that's my whimsical Leo side. So we've got the sun, the identity of ourselves, of our persona, going through that part of the sky. And that means that we relate ourselves to what we're saying, to our thoughts. We get much more expressive, and we express in a way that can be more righteous because it's Mercury. Mercury is extremely intelligent as a planet. It helps us to understand electrical energy, or in Virgo, it's grounded. It grounds the energy, so it isn't quite as frenetic, but yet it's still quick-minded. So sorry about that. You can't help but notice things like this, right? When your hair's out of place. Anyway, so the energy of Gemini really infuses us with this high electrical energy that wants to be on top of things and wants to know things. It's a gossipy kind of energy, and it wants to understand at another level. It's an electrical energy, like I said, so the synapses in the brain are firing really quickly with this energy. And we've already had Venus in Gemini. Venus has been there for a little while. I'm going to look it up, see when I talk. And this is really the first few weeks of having video on this. Those of you who have followed me for years on audio, you know, now you get to see all of the behind the scenes that I'm doing when I'm talking about looking up in my ephemeris. I'm doing this. I've actually got it on the computer too. I'm just not using it because I don't like trackpads, and this is a trackpad computer. So Venus went into Gemini on the 4th of April, or even the 3rd, looking at this ephemeris, and will be there actually for a while because she gets to 21 degrees of Gemini and then she retrogrades. And she retrograded, actually, I should say, last week because we discussed it. And so she retrograded on the 12th. And in Gemini, it means that she was talking about things and having ideas and discussing the educational process. And all of you who have children in elementary school, Venus retrograding in Gemini is likely to mean that you're going to feel like you haven't accomplished with your kids, helping your kids, you haven't gotten all of the information that you needed to get for the grades. You may have to go back over some of the essays, some of the schoolwork, and you may have realized that this isn't exactly where we need to be. So it can be a little stressful for parents with kids in school still. And because Venus is desire, our desires are waning. It's a beautiful time of year. We don't want to be doing school. We don't want to be helping our kids do school. And so we're going to have to go back over things. And so, of course, Gemini rules all sorts of communications, travel, contracts, getting together with people and expressing ideas that we have. So as Venus is retrograde, she is our desire. It relates also to, because Venus rules the 2nd house of love, money, and honestly, it's where I look when people become a couple. That may shift for some of us, depending on where it is. I'm sorry, got a little itch in my ear. Depending on where it is in our charts, but definitely having Venus, it affects love, it affects money, affects our desire around love and money and retail. And so having Venus there, she's really shining a light on the Gemini energy and the intellect that Geminis have and the clarity of mind. And having Venus, the planet Venus, she's the goddess of love. She's also the representation of women. So we're having more attention to women right now in the news. On this note, I was actually just reading the news this morning. I live in Florida, and apparently one of the women who was in charge of the database and the dashboard for the coronavirus in Florida got fired on Monday, I believe it was, yesterday. So apparently she was told to change the numbers for how soon we started getting information about this, or how soon people started reporting symptoms of coronavirus in Florida. And she refused to do it. So she was fired with insubordination. And now comes the smear campaign. So not surprising, we've got the 3 Gemini planets are going to be squaring Neptune in Pisces and Mars in Pisces. So Pisces is a sense of knowing something deeper, like having a deeper understanding and a deeper truth, a deeper connection to right, to what is connected for all of us. And it squares Gemini, which can mean duality and looking at things 2 different ways, and also not presenting information, especially under a retrograde that we're approaching, in a forthright manner, that we have a juggling of 2 different perspectives or more. And so as the sun goes in to Gemini, and like I said, that happens this week also, it happens on Wednesday, again, 9:49 a.m. Eastern, our egos are going to be attached to this, and our egos are going to be attached to whatever communications or contracts or understanding of a situation wrapped around the Gemini energy. We're going to have an investment of self, our sense of self. And then after that, we also have the new moon in Gemini. So new moon in Gemini falls on Friday the 22nd, and it is at 1:39 p.m. Eastern. My hair's making my face itch here. So yeah, 1:39, and it's right after a trine of the moon to Saturn. It's right after the moon enters Gemini at 9:36 a.m. on Friday. So it's right out of the gate, immediate. It's 2 degrees of Gemini. So a new moon is initiating energy, culmination, or not even culmination, it's expression of a new incoming understanding and awareness. So we'll definitely see that on Friday. There's understanding that's being brought forth, but there's also a battle. It's like light and dark, Jekyll and Hyde, the duality that comes in with that mirror of Gemini. It is also a time of projection, like everything right now seems to be projection. And probably part of that is Pluto. Pluto is the psychology and how we understand our beliefs and what's around us and integrate that. And Pluto at late degrees Capricorn is about what is reality. And it's being challenged, you know, right now, fake news and, you know, all of the things that are going on with people, like, is there integrity? Is there not integrity with what people are saying? How can we believe it? Personally, I go to Snopes.com. It's a great resource. Is this a true story? So we're going to definitely see this month much more playing with words, playing with information, kind of magician. I definitely see Gemini as a magician energy, and it may even be that in tarot. I can't remember exactly if it is or not, but something seems like that might be the case. But it's a trickster. And Mercury is the trickster. So watch what is being said. Go with your gut. That's the Pisces energy right now. We're going to find out more about how we feel versus what we think. And is it of integrity? So the best way to judge is to go within, feel, is this good or is this not good? Is this in alignment with how I believe as a person and who I am and what I think about myself? Right now, with all the planets retrograde, it is time to go back over our beliefs and to see where we've been and what has happened in the beginning of the year. So let's see, what else do I have to say about that? Children, it's about siblings, and it's about air energy. So it can be storms, it can be breezes, it can be small animals and pets. I'm just peeking around at my cat on the other side. My cats, of course, like to rub on everything, and I'm out and about, so of course they want to rub on me. I only have 1 cat right now, thankfully, in the back. Otherwise, Cupid, my other cat, loves to rub, and I'm on this precarious table that 1 rub would knock the whole thing over. So rather amusing. But Gemini is going to be affecting our small pets. It rules lizards and critters and pets and activity around them. So know that that's a potential. I'll just show you, those of you who can see. There's Ginger. Ginger, hey, what? Don't rub on me. I'm allergic too. Anyway, so having a square between these Gemini planets and Mars, which will happen right after the new moon, there's going to be a square with Mars. I think that that will, well, interesting. So this is also another thing I have to say about Mars and Pisces. Pisces is the hidden. And I was trying to interpret the energy of Mars going into Pisces as it relates to coronavirus, because I've said this in the past, Mercury was in Pisces when this whole thing came about. And definitely that means the hidden. But it can also mean bodily fluids and passing it between people. It is a lot of energy around the ethereal plane, but that can also mean in the body that there are things, you know, germs and viruses. Remember, Pisces is opposite Virgo, and Virgo is about hygiene and health. So Pisces can bring in an integration of different germs and energy like that. And so I was trying to, I'm sorry, I was wondering, I keep wiping my eye for those of you who are watching this. And I want to say real quick, I know I interject in the middle of my sentence, but Mercury energy. Those of you who are listening to this, if you want to watch me, you can watch it every Wednesday at 11 a.m. I post it on Facebook. I post the link on Facebook every week, and you can come in. I am not taking callers just yet. I'm still trying to figure that out. And I think I have to do a couple private sessions to really get all of the different buttons down that can help me really call up people and talk to them. But for the time being, we've got, anyway, a video of me. So hopefully that's not too suffering, intolerant. Anyway, yeah, we've got the Mars and Pisces energy really triggering the behind the scenes energy. And honestly, I have been concerned about going out in Florida. I don't necessarily feel comfortable. I'm going within. I'm using my own inner compass. And even though Florida had they put us on, I don't know, quarantine or stay at home on April 1st, around middle of March, I was not feeling comfortable about going out and really interacting. So I kind of quarantined myself at that point, and it was honestly pretty good. I do think I've had this virus. I think I had a mild version of it. I had some severe symptoms that lasted about a week, and that was right over March 31st and April 1st. So because we were holed up around then, now it's starting to loosen up. But I do see Mars in Pisces is going to have more interactions going on and potential for this to come back. So during this month, in a few weeks, I think Pisces goes into Aries. I want to say June, but it's the last 2 days of June. So we're going to see a shift from having this interaction with people to being much more assertive and wanting to have things our way. So really, I think that coming up the second half of the year is going to be very contentious. I was talking to a friend this week and looking at the planetary aspects as we head more into the later part of the year. My friend works at Disney and has been furloughed indefinitely, obviously. And being in Orlando, kind of see the behind the scenes of what's going on. And Disney really, it takes 2 weeks to reboot Disney once it decides to go back and start up again. And so to do that more than once would be significant for the company. So they are going slowly. I think Shanghai just opened a week or two ago, and they're probably the testing ground and proving ground for what is going to happen in the future here in Orlando with the parks. And so I don't see that necessarily happening until June or July. But the interesting point is, as Mars goes into Aries, information will come out. Everything's hidden with Mars and Aries, you know, actions being taken behind the scenes. Like, you know, it's interesting that this news article came out about the woman who was basically blowing the whistle on procedures with the virus numbers. If everyone in the country is doing that, or everyone even in the state that is influenced by other political figures, who knows what the true numbers are? And that's a very strong potential right now with Mercury planets squaring Pisces planets. Mercury is information, but it's duality. Pisces is the hidden. I mean, they're clashing. There's information coming out, but is it getting expressed? Is it being brought forth for us? So, yeah, we've got a lot going on with this, and I've been hesitant to talk about it because I just don't want to add to the fear that is out there. I definitely believe in what you focus on expands, and so I've really avoided talking about it a great deal. But if I have to talk about it, I would caution you that don't necessarily trust the numbers, trust yourself. And that is a huge lesson of Neptune in Pisces, as well as Mars in Pisces. So let me look at my chart here and give you a bit of idea what's going on with the other planets right now. Let me see if there's anything else I wanted to say about Gemini. So yeah, we have a square today at 8:41 p.m. between Gemini Venus and Mars in Pisces. And so that's going to be Venus and Mars, men and women. It's going to be a clash of the genders on some level. And women are maybe talking and probably being seen as talking out of turn. But Mars in Pisces is wanting to kind of tell yourself a story and be in denial and not necessarily accept what information's coming out. Now, it's an interesting combination of planets and signs because the desire is to understand things. That's Gemini. It wants to understand. It wants to get all the information, the gossip, the tea, the lowdown. And Pisces really wants to just chill out, hang out, be in their own energy and not really be bombarded by a lot of negativity or be told what to do or make them make a decision even. I mean, Pisces is a very chilled, laid back energy. And so having these two energies square each other, Mars is not real comfortable in Pisces. He wants to get going, and Pisces is really making him very lazy and tired. We may feel more drained. Our dreams are going to be more pointed and poignant and prophetic, 3 Ps. So yeah, definitely this is a very strong energy between Mars and Venus. And then the sun is going to square Mars. So the sun is going, I've got to remind you, our president is a Gemini. He's probably going to have issues. There's also, I want to say, where is it? Vesta. Gosh, I think Vesta is in Taurus. And actually, I also want to touch on this too. Moon and Uranus today are joined up. Actually, right now, the moon is at 6 degrees of Taurus and Uranus is at 7. So it makes emotions unpredictable. But even though normally moon in Taurus is going to make us feel really wanting the security, because moon rules Cancer and Cancers need security. Like financial security is a big thing for Cancer. Moon rules Cancer. So the energy is about security and looking for tangible, reliable energy. Taurus is an earth sign and very grounded. It's the bull. It, has a well-worn path and digs in. He's very stubborn. So moon in Taurus normally is really wanting to stay solid and look for security. But Uranus wants to shake things up. Uranus doesn't want things to be normal. It wants the alternative. It wants the exceptional. It wants ideas and innovation and invention. And so he's really bringing a whole new vibration to this story. He wants freedom. He wants entrepreneurship. He wants freedom to do business the way he likes to do. So, my mind is always weighing the difference between the parties. And I'm like, okay, well, Uranus and Aquarius are going to really make a lot of progressive energy come into the world. But then, you still have conservatives who are trying to get where they're going, and they're feeling it too, especially in Taurus. Taurus is a very conservative sign historically. I mean, I always suggest you look at Ralph Lauren as an example, like the quintessential Taurus energy, you know, English vibration, very elegant, mannerly, gentrified energy. Sorry if this is bothering those of you. My little fairy hair is blowing in my face. I apologize to those who are annoyed with that. But yeah, anyway, so we've got this gentrified energy going into a conjunction with, or the energy of a planet, Uranus, wanting to shake things up, not wanting to be told what to do. So that means people who are influenced by Taurus, people who may be sun sign in Taurus or moon in Taurus or Taurus rising, anybody with Taurus, strong Taurus planets. I have Jupiter in Taurus. Uranus is really accenting the need for freedom, and that in conservatives will probably translate to don't hold me back, don't tell me how I have to follow rules and regulations to do business, which is really what's going on right now. The conservatives are taking off holds and rules and restrictions around business. Then the progressives are out there saying, you know, but you need to include people. You need to be embracing the collective and what everyone's ideas are. And we want to do things for ourselves. We don't want people telling us what to do, but we also recognize the need for the structure in the collective so that we each individually can be who we are. So it's kind of two different dynamics with this coming in. And the moon comes in, and now we have this visceral need for security and for love and to be valued, which is what Taurus is. It's about valuing ourselves, where Scorpio may be valuing of others, how they view us. Taurus is about, do we value ourselves? Are we making the kind of money we really deserve? Uranus is not going retrograde for a while. He doesn't go retrograde, I want to even say, until October. He's not even going to go direct from his retrograde until next year, whereas last year he went direct in December. He doesn't go direct until January next year. So let's see when Uranus goes into retrograde. August. So yeah, we still got a few months until Uranus is retrograde, and when he goes retrograde, he will be going back over some of the ideas he's had, the inventions, the newness of what he's bringing in. That being said, we also have Uranus squaring his own sign in Taurus. Taurus squares Aquarius. So of course, Saturn in Aquarius has been squaring the Uranus energy. And so it's been, you know, this is granted a very strong year of upheaval, and a lot of the chaotic energy that we feel, or even anxiety, is definitely the Uranus / Aquarius energy and the square we have going between the planets in the sky. So for those of you who are still learning and don't understand squares and trines, it's a square is 90 degrees, so right angle is 90 degrees. It means a planet's in the sky. So say I'm sitting here and there's a planet up in the middle of the heavens here at noon. So the sun's right up in the middle of the heaven at noon. Directly out on the horizon is another planet. That's 90 degrees. And they are not in sync because the sun wants his way. He's up in the midheaven, the center of the sky, going, you know, pay attention to me. I'm shining my light. And then the planet over there on the horizon, it's either coming up or going down, depending on which horizon it is. And he's not feeling connected. He's either just being born on the horizon coming up, he's wanting to express himself where the sun is getting all the attention, or the other planet on the descendant on the other horizon, on the western horizon, is going down. And he's going, I want to sleep, and you're shining really brightly. So you see how there's a conflict. And then, of course, whatever's on the other side of the earth, opposite the sun, will be, and that's when the full moon is. So the moon is opposite the sun. They're in two different light cycles, of course. And so we're seeing a beautiful, bright full moon at night. And then during the day, we don't see the moon on a full moon. And so at those times, we have this opposition. And we have a clash of energy. And anyway, so that I hope helps a little bit for those of you learning astrology and what this square can do. Squares are really good for triggering the friction that we need to change something that has been needing to be changed. So we may know it. I mean, as an astrologer, I am very aware of a lot of things I need to change in my life, but it doesn't always mean that we can integrate it right away. As the planets move through these signs and we start to really understand the energy of whatever sign they're in, we can really embrace and integrate those lessons. So interestingly, I have a Scorpio rising, I have a Scorpio moon Neptune conjunction in my first house. So that means Uranus will be opposing directly my moon, my Neptune, and my sense of self in my first house. It will be going in, and is now, in the descendant or seventh house of my chart. This brings out a need for freedom associated with a partner. And it may also trigger the desire to have a partner in my life, but only with the frame of being independent and don't tell me what to do, which is a hallmark. And I have to tell you, I was watching a video of another tarot reader and astrologer. She's super good, and I'll tell you her name at the end of this. And she was talking about having, oh, what was it? No, I just lost it. She had the energy coming in about, oh darn, I'm not going to be able to remember it. Darn. I wanted to tell you too. So what was I just saying? Live video. You gotta love it. Yep, I don't think I'm going to remember it. Oh, well. Anyway, it was about balance of energies and, you know, having the opposition coming in. And so we have this stress and this strain coming in when planets oppose our natal planets. So, yeah, well, anyway, for those of you who are wondering who it was Stargirl, the Practical Witch. She's just so cute, and she's very accurate. She's an awesome reader, by the way. I love her. Anyway, yeah, we've got that conservative side of Taurus, and it's really being roto-rooted by Aquarian energy and the unexpected. So let's see, is there anything else? I don't have anyone. I'm not promoting the video live just yet because I'm not sure how to run it. And I've said that for a few weeks. And you know me, I'm very slow with getting okay with all this. Let me see if, yeah, I'm the only participant right now. Thankfully, unfortunately, I know you all probably want to see other participants. So I will get on that. I also still have the video. This is the laptop. I've still got the video camera I want to use so I can be a little bit freer, but it is not able to be used as a webcam, which is what I was going to use it for. It's only a Wi-Fi that you can roam around with. So I'm not able to actually use that until I figure out how to get my computer to recognize that particular device. So anyway, and I could get a tripod, I suppose, and just put it up and record it and then put it on the computer, who knows, whatever. I do like interacting with you all. So if you have a question and want me to look into your chart until I can get this whole technology thing squared away, please just email me at so@angeliczodiac.com. You can always find me on angeliczodiac.com. And you can get the links to my podcast, to my videos. You can go find me on Facebook under AstroEnergy, or I think you type in AstroEnergy Astrology, and probably even just AstroEnergy, it's there. And what else? Yeah, I do personal private readings. If you are interested in that, we call and talk on Skype, and then I record it and send you the recording so you can listen to it over and over. And I have mini readings there. I have full readings, birthday readings. I give a discount for birthday readings. They're, I think about $15 or $20 less for a birthday reading. If you get me on a week either side of your birthday, we'll get the discount for you. And yeah, that's it. It's exciting to get into video. I'm really excited. I've had a YouTube channel for a while. I need to shoot like an intro to it too. Maybe I'll do that right after this video. Anyway, yeah, let me just look real quick at what the week's got ahead coming. We've got that new moon in Gemini. And so it's going to be a new way of looking at education, communications, our thoughts, interactions, anything with air. So it can affect the weather. It does affect cars. I mentioned this last week that I know somebody who's a Gemini, and her birthday's coming up the end of this week, and she was in a car accident. Actually, it was more like a mistake. So, yeah, dented the car on a pillar. but you know, really be careful. I'm still going to give you this because the sun's coming into a square with Mars. That's going to mean that there is like the sense that we know what's going on, we're aware, we're on our game, and then something we didn't know is going to come out and can be there. So especially when we're moving around, yeah, just be cautious, okay? And the new moon, initiating energy, something new, new contracts, new friends, new members of the family even. We can have new conversations, all of the Gemini energy. Let's see, new neighbors, moving. There could be some moving, especially as the Gemini energy reaches the end degrees and starts to go into Cancer this year. July is a very big month coming up for us, and we have a lunar eclipse June 5th in Sagittarius. We have a lot of Gemini Sagittarius axis energy going on. I also wanted to remind you too, I forgot about this. I'm on Instagram, Angelic Zodiac 1, at Angelic Zodiac 1, and I'm going to be posting more live videos or, you know, information on stories. I post the charts. If you want to know what I'm talking about looks like, you can go to my feed on Instagram and see the chart, and I circle the energy I'm talking about so you know what the glyphs are. It's a really good way to start learning the glyphs if you're new to astrology. Anyway, so that's the show for this week. I'm excited to continue growing with technology. I hope you all are, because that's really where we're heading. Aquarius is all about technology. And yeah, get your online presence together, because the end of the year is going to be in spades. That's an exclamation point. I'll wrap up with this. We've got Jupiter going into Aquarius, Saturn going into Aquarius 3 days apart in early December. I can guarantee you there are big changes on the horizon, and Jupiter influenced people, which are Sagittarians, and anyone with a planet in Sagittarius or a rising are going to feel this. It's a time of change, shift, movement, but also a time of detachment. So we are leaving something and letting it go and moving on to something else. And Saturn moved into Aquarius March, and you see what happened sitting here at the house. So anyway, I have so much love for all of you. You don't know. My clients, I just love my clients. They are the best. They're the nicest people. And I'm just sending all my love to all of them.